Okay, so today in Buddhism, we are going to talk about another one of the five precepts. We did the overview of the five precepts. Today, it's going to be um, getting in deeper to the precept where we talk about not taking intoxicating chemicals. So we vow to not take in intoxicating chemicals, which I believe in the Buddhist time it was primarily alcohol, and the translation may even say alcohol, but today it's interpreted to mean all intoxicating chemicals, which includes any type of drug as well. And just like anything, we don't judge those who do partake. Um, we don't judge those who do partake in those things. We simply um, know that what we want to do to reach enlightenment, to reach nirvana, is to have full access to our cognitive abilities. We want to be able to maintain control of our cognitive abilities. Particularly alcohol numbs the frontal cortex, which people lose control of their abilities. And you do something really stupid and be like, well, I was drunk. So it's, and the excuse, well, it wasn't my fault, I was drunk. Well, in Buddhism, we don't put ourselves into those situations. We're not supposed to anyway, according to the five precepts. If you're a practicing Buddhist and you're taking the five precepts, you've taken a vow to not take those intoxicating chemicals, and so there would be no way to lose control of your mental faculties. And so, in Buddhism, uh, there is one of the eightfold path is um, right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. And right mindfulness before right concentration is always being conscientious of everything I do, everything I say, why I'm doing it, why I'm saying it, being aware, just a sense of awareness. And that's what has increased discussions on even things like meditative walking. Meditation isn't always just stopping and sitting in a lotus position and breathing. Because the idea of meditation and the reason why breathing works is because you're just being aware of your in breath and your out breath and the sensations of that breath. So meditative walking is a similar concept, but instead of pay attention to the breath, you're paying attention to your footsteps in each footstep and how each footstep feels, and being aware of your surroundings. So this is a sense of awareness, and anything that could decrease my awareness of reality and the things around me, um, it would be something that we do not partake of, according to the Buddhism five precepts. That doesn't mean that there aren't plenty of Buddhists who do partake, but just like any religion, you have people who fail, not, and I don't want to use the word fail in a negative way. We all fail at something, and none of us are perfect. So we have things that we do not do perfectly. So people, they make mistakes, and we don't judge those people. But Buddhism clearly makes a statement on this, where that is not something that we need to do in order to reach enlightenment. So if there is a Buddhist who is partaking in drugs, they're just not currently on the path to enlightenment. That doesn't even mean that they won't make enlightenment this lifetime, because they can stop at any time and regain control and start seeking enlightenment. So we just don't judge those people, but they're just not currently on the path towards enlightenment, and maybe they'll get better in this lifetime, maybe they'll get better in the next lifetime. And we can't judge because we don't know what they're going through and why they feel like they need those intoxicating chemicals. So Buddhism makes a clear declaration on the use of alcohol or drugs, and saying that we should not do that. Since these are very short topics, I'm going to go ahead and do the next one as well. The next one of the five precepts that we can look into is the the precept um, of right speech. So we make a vow to not tell any lies, and to always tell the truth. And obviously, this is also things where you have half truths, where you say something intending to deceive them, even though you didn't technically lie, where you manipulated them. But in Buddhism, just as everything, things can get much deeper when we get into the Noble Eightfold Path. This is the 5 precepts is simply to get us initiation, and then we have something deeper in the right speech. So when we take that vow to not lie, we also know that as we practice the Eightfold Path, we are going to take it a step farther and not spread gossip, even if you believe the gossip and you're telling the truth. Like somebody else told you this, and you're like, well, Sherry told me that that Jamie did such and such, and it must be true because of whatever. Or even if you don't know if it's true, it's like, well, I just said that this person told me that, and the other person can believe it or not. Well, gossiping in general is considered something that cannot produce enlightenment. So when I engage in gossip, and if I'm engaging in that behavior, I'm doing something that will not produce enlightenment. And so one of the things that we try to do is get away from gossip, and we try to engage in speech that is productive and useful and loving and compassionate. And remember, we're always looking at how is my actions and my behaviors affecting others as well as myself. So if I am causing somebody else to suffer because of my actions or my words, that's something that I should not do. So one of the things that we could look at that is upon each individual's conscious is something that that has happened historically. We hope that it won't happen in our country or any country ever again, but it could. And it's a very rare circumstance. And that is like Anne Frank, for example, somebody who is hiding, in the case of Anne Frank, from the Nazis, and somebody has to lie on their behalf. I don't know where she is. I don't have any Jews here, things like that. And so the moral dilemma is, well, if I tell them where this person is hiding, then I'm causing this person to suffer, because they're going to find the person, and they're going to hurt this person. If I lie, well, that is in itself something that does not produce enlightenment. So that, I think every situation is going to be different. So there's always going to be, and that's why it's really important not to take a dogmatic approach, like it's definitely like this all the time, every time, because I would hope that if I'm in that position where somebody's life depends on me telling that sort of a lie, that I would go ahead and say the lie at that moment. And so it's really hard to know how we'd react in that situation, and it's really hard to judge anybody who's ever been in that situation, whichever action they've chosen to do. But it's just something to be aware of, that you may be put in a position where you're in a moral dilemma, particularly with lying in those particular situations where it's impossible to say without knowing each individual situation what you should do in that moment, and you don't have a lot of time to think about it and philosophize over it. You just kind of have to make a decision because somebody's life depends on it in that case. But those situations are rare. I'd say probably much more than 99.99% of the time, telling the truth is the best option.